One Zambia, one nation, and welcome to Zanis News. We look at the top stories in the news. President Hichilema swears in Judicial Complaints Commissioners, SCC board member. Mozambique President Philip Nyusi addresses Zambia National Assembly. FRA procures over 27,000 metric tons of maize in Northern Province. Plus, Kafue National Park restocked with 400 black latres. Well, with the menus in detail, my name is Margaret Kangwa and my sign language interpreter is John Chulu. Now, President Hakainde Hichilema has sworn in commissioners of the Judicial Complaints Commission and a member of the Anti-Corruption Commission Board. Wupe Sendwe has more in this report.
President Hakainde Hichilema has sworn in Kefas Katongo and Eva Jala as commissioners under the Judicial Complaints Commission, JCC, and Jack Kalala as member of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony, President Hichilema stated the important functions of the two institutions in the dispensation of justice and the fight against corruption.
We need the judiciary to be one, as the Constitution provides for, where citizens, institutions, or indeed any other formation in our country under our jurisdiction, when they feel aggrieved, they should have no hesitation to seek recourse of the courts or the judiciary. One of the three arms of government is functioning. And that arm of government is not above the law. I must emphasize this to you. Sometimes there's an implication or some implied perception that some citizens are above the law. There's no citizen who is above the law. We're all under the law.
President Hichilema also made a call on the SCC to conduct thorough investigations before making arrests.
I think we've done enough reforms, enough legal changes, and also guidance to assist the Anti-Corruption Commission to function effectively. The President has said many times, do not arrest people before you have investigated. Your organization will be superintendent. They must investigate. When they are arrested, they must be ready to prosecute. Simple.
The newly sworn-in officials reaffirmed their commitment to service with diligence.
You've heard what the President said. Justice is for all. And not only technical justice, but really substantive justice. We should not use technicalities to avoid substantial justice.
I would like the Zambian people to know that I'm a very firm person, and given this job, I take it very seriously.
We need, as a nation, to protect public resources, to save the poor of the poor in the villages, the poor in the compounds and everywhere.
Wupe Sendwe for Zanis in Lusaka.
And now, the Mozambican President Philip Nyusi says Africa has the capacity to feed itself with the vast knowledge and technological capabilities it possesses. President Nyusi said this today when he toured the United Capital Fertilizer, Zambia's leading manufacturer of D-compound fertilizer, to appreciate the company's production processes and capacity. Sarah Miti has the details in this report.
With a production capacity of over 800,000 metric tons per annum, creating over 1,000 jobs in the process and supplying D-compound fertilizer throughout the country and the region, this massive plant has impressed visiting Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi, who toured the plant with his delegation.
It's seen that the Africans weekend, and we are doing already. We have everything here in our countries, facilities, clever people, whoever, but enough for to start. And the year you in Zambia started already. This is the main problem, food, it's the point number one. We have water, but if you don't have food, sometimes it's difficult. You can't develop, you can't study. the capital, human capital resources will come with that. And we're very happy to see that our brothers here in Zambia, they're starting already doing things, making things happening. And congratulations.
President Nyusi also shared the possible collaboration that could benefit both Zambia and Mozambique.
This is the good, Mozambique is the good market for rice. And also, you are very good market ourselves to raw material to send here. And also, you are using our railway lines, our ports, our roads. This means that we have a lot to do together. If we need to do together in the building, creating jobs for our people, mainly young people, women, we are very happy to see this initiative. Please.
Earlier, United Capital Fertilizer board chairperson Chance Kabaye shared how the company has grown in the last few years and its future plans.
In Zambia, with seed, because now we're the biggest seed exporter in the region, would like us to be the biggest producer and exporter of fertilizers. And with that in place, this region should not be able to suffer in terms of maize production, wheat production, soya production, and of course the president did indicate, because there was so much water underground and surface water.
President Nyusi is in the country on a 3-day working visit and will conclude his visit tomorrow, June 30th, after officiating at this year's 58th edition of the Zambia International Trade Fair in Ndola. Sarah Miti reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
And earlier, Mozambique President Philip Nyusi has urged Zambian parliamentarians not to be afraid in their quest to attain solutions in the governance process of the country. President Nyusi said this today when he made a maiden address to the National Assembly of Zambia. Mutale Nkani now reports.
It was a special occasion for Zambia's National Assembly as visiting Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi was ushered into the House by the Speaker, Nelly Muti. This was the first time that the House was being graced with the presence of the Mozambican head of state. In his maiden speech, President Nyusi urged parliamentarians not to be afraid to make mistakes in their quest to improve the governance process of the country.
We are not afraid to make mistakes, but we are always open to correcting those mistakes until we reach the governance model that best suits our reality and the development needs of our country. Therefore, respected representatives of these sisterly people, let us not fear to make a mistake when we want to find the best solution for the well-being of the people we represent.
The Mozambican president used the occasion to pay tribute to the role Zambia has played in that country's liberation struggle.
We are here before the distinguished members of the National Assembly to once again recognize and thank the people of Zambia for the friendship and the solidarity they have always shown for the just cause of freedom and peace for the peoples of the Southern African region and in particular the Mozambican people. Second, we are here to reaffirm that Mozambique and the Mozambicans will always continue to stand by Zambia and the brotherly people of Zambia on this journey, and now for the economic development of our countries, jointly harnessing the comparative advantages in the areas of mining, agriculture, transport and logistics, energy, shared water courses, environment, trade, among other areas.
The head of state also interacted with members of parliament shortly after addressing the House. The Mozambican president, who is in the country for a 3-day visit, is expected to officially open the trade fair in Ndola. Mtalekani for Zanis News in Lusaka.
Well, also in the news, Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Acting Permanent Secretary Richard Banda says Zambia has a lot to learn from the Arab Republic of Egypt in the infrastructure sector. Dr. Banda says infrastructure plays an important role in economic activities of any country, adding that without infrastructure, the nation cannot have any economic activities. The acting PS was speaking yesterday when he officially opened a business meeting with the Arab Contractors Company at Mulungushi International Conference Center in Lusaka, where various government departments and entities made presentations of their key priority investment projects. Details by Pamela Inambao.
They continue to hold various business meetings with different stakeholders in Lusaka province. The Arab Contractors Company from the Republic of Egypt, who are in the country with the aim of investing in different sectors in Zambia, received priority areas of investment opportunities during the meeting that was held at Mulungushi Conference Center. And Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Acting Permanent Secretary Dr. Richard Banda, who officiated at the business engagement meeting, says once the Arab contractors commence their projects, the country will see more development.
As government, we know the catalytic role that infrastructure does in economic activity. The Arab contractors of Egypt have taken interest to come to Zambia to explore not just commercial opportunities, but partnerships that are going to be of mutual benefit to us as a country and to them as a business, and also to the bilateral relations between Zambia and Egypt.
And in his presentation, Chinsali Municipal Council Director of Planning said Muchinga Province holds investment potential in various sectors.
Each district has got its own uniqueness in terms of the natural resources that each has. Most of the land is sitting under customary tenure. Traditional leadership are actually on hand to ensure that we partner and invest in the backbone infrastructure for the good of our people and the nation.
Mata Kamenda is Assistant Director under Muchinga Provincial Planning Unit.
In the road sector, that the key or proposal for Muchinga Province is the Mpika Kasama to Prungu and also the Chama Matumbo road. And these, once developed, actually will add value to the province.
Meanwhile, Arab Contractors Head of Business Development under Strategic Studies Department says she is happy to note the potential investment opportunities that Muchinga Province boasts of.
Investing in Muchinga is very profitable, so I see that's why we are really excited to work with Muchinga Province, and I hope for the best for our cooperation in the future. I see a very beautiful land.
Pamela Inamba reporting for Zanis in Lusaka Province.
And our Japanese ambassador and representative for public diplomas to Zambia, Hideo Suzuki, says Japan will continue to support Zambia's education sector to foster the country's development. Ambassador Suzuki said his country recognizes the importance of education as the future for every country, including Zambia. Mr. Suzuki said this when he led a team to pay a courtesy call on Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima at his office in Lusaka yesterday. He mentioned that his country is eager to continue collaborating with Zambia in its education sphere, especially the science and technology field, which is critical to the country's future.
3 secondary schools, those are STEM schools. When you look at the two.
And we share the same values, democracy and human rights. And so we are kind of like-minded country. And we are celebrating this year the 60th anniversary of our diplomatic relations between Japan and Zambia. So we hope that we will continue to progress further in our collaboration, cooperation in every field, especially in the education. We've been, as you said, we've been so much present in the education field because we think that education is really the future of the nation. It's the spine of the nation, so it's the foundation of the nation building, and that's why we are very much eager to continue to cooperate, let's say, especially in the field of science and technology, which is a key to our development.
But any saving that we have goes to education. Everything. So this is why we are now trying to tell everybody to be prudent in the utilization of little money that we have. We'd like to thank the Japanese government for coming to our aid. You will recall that our School of Veterinary Medicine started, and it is the Japanese government which gave us that school. And now it has grown to a huge School of Vet Medicine.
And the Minister of Science and Technology, Felix Mutati, has revealed that the United Nations Development Programme Tumbuto initiative will help harness the potential of young people in the country. Mr. Mutati said this during the Innovation Hub's panel discussion at the International Trade Fair in Ndola District. Details in the following report.
To harness potential among the young people in Zambia and ensure technological innovations come into fruition, government has partnered with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, to tackle some of the pressing challenges being faced by the young people. Speaking during an innovation panel of discussion, Minister of Technology and Science says government has taken a number of steps to improve technology and innovations.
Organizing global power that they have got, they have come up with, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, Timbuktu. This is just to try and lift up the innovation ecosystem across the entire continent of Africa, with a target commitment of resource of $1 billion. They have picked up 9 countries, eventually will be 10 in Africa, to be able to deliver excellence in a particular sector. And for Zambia, they have said, Zambia, because of the things you have got, we have awarded you what is called the mine.
The minister has appreciated the United Nations Development Programme for partnering with government,
providing an enabling environment where we're having the UN race rep sitting next to government, and this is in the month of June. We are making the difference. So our mind tech will be for the rest of Africa. So the UN have picked up specific pillars. For example, Rwanda will have health tech.
Development Programme representative is elated with the initiative of setting up a program that will help the young innovators.
The initiative is really to co-create that environment, to nurture a platform where youth startups are able to be supported, and therefore bringing a blend of both startups as well as commercial ventures that can help to propel Africa into that hub for innovation and technology. And therefore, we are looking to furthering this partnership, not only with the government, but also with the private sector. And
the role with the startups, because with collaboration and partnerships, we're trying to bring down the silos that inhibit or create barriers for startups to actualize their ideas. And so collaboration is at the heart of startups bringing their ideas to fruition.
Partnerships will help create jobs and add up to the economic development of the country. Nelly Bota reporting for Zanis in Ndola.
Still at Trade Fair, Ministry of Agriculture Permanent Secretary in charge of Technical Services, John Mulongoti, says his ministry has allowed the importation of maize and wheat as part of the interventions to respond to the impact of the drought crisis which has affected the food security in the country. Mr. Mulongoti also disclosed that the Ministry of Agriculture has started training farmers on best farming practices in order to withstand the adverse effects of climate change. From the trade fair in Ndola, Sandy Walia now reports.
In response to the adverse effects of the prolonged drought crisis, which has affected almost all the sectors of the economy, especially energy and agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture has devised a number of interventions aimed at mitigating the negative impact the drought has caused on the people.
A number of interventions which we've put in place as a response to the drought which we've experienced as a country. As you know, this is the driest season in the last 40 years. So first and foremost, we have allowed importation of maize and wheat, and so far the importations are going on smoothly. We are also improving efficiency so that we don't waste time for our importers as they cross into the country. Secondly, we have also embarked on farmer education to teach farmers on the good farming practices, and also teaching farmers on how to harvest water and also how to use that water for irrigation. As you know, going forward, we believe that irrigation is a game changer. And to support our farmers, we are promoting or supporting them with funds to procure the equipment under the Sustainable Agriculture Financing Facility, where they apply through the various banks, participating banks, and buy equipment.
Commerce, Trade and Industry Permanent Secretary Lilian Walia shared how the ministry is promoting businesses in the country.
If you have a value of $50,000, you can access those incentives. You will have the Zambia Export Development Fund, we have the ZATEP, we have the Proudly Zambian campaign, and we're also looking at local content as an incentive for you to produce and also ensure that your product are consumed locally.
BIZET campaign founder Evans Ngoma urged the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry to expedite the formulation of a policy to promote local products utilization.
Ministries must prioritize procurement of local products. In some cases, yes, we are seeing that happening, but in certain cases, I think there's still some rigidities. This is why yesterday one fellow was saying, I think it will be, actually it is yourself, you said we have to conduct a workshop, a sensitization workshop for all procurement officers across the country, so that they are taught categorically that that which is made in Zambia, and if you want to buy anything, first of all, you have to think local first. I think this is what is on my scarf here. On my scarf, which I was given by yourselves through the head of state, says if you want to procure anything, first of all think local. If there is no local product, you are free now to go on to these other foreign products.
Zambia Manufacturers Association President highlighted what his association is doing in promoting buying of local products.
That has been touched on, which is mindset change in our country, and this also goes to the Proudly Zambian campaign, which Zambia Association of Manufacturers runs on behalf of government under the Ministry of Commerce. We are beginning to see a shift on the shelves, especially with the chain stores that partner with us, like ShopRite, Pick and Pay, Choppies, where we're seeing a lot of products on their shelves. And even you mentioned PEP. PEP has recently integrated some of the local shoes from Zamshu onto their shelves.
Sandra for Zanis in Ndola, Copperbelt Province.
And our Southern Province Permanent Secretary, Naman Monze, has urged local authorities in the province to be committed to the realignments of the 2024 Constituents Development Fund budget by prioritizing climate change-affected need areas. Dr. Monze said this in a speech read for him by Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga during a review meeting on the realignment of the 2024 Constituents Development Fund budget to address the drought situation in the province. Kostak Mudenda has more in this report.
In an effort to respond to the presidential directive of realigning the 2024 budget to respond to the climate change that has ravaged the country in the 2023-2024 farming season, a review meeting has been held in Joma for Southern Province to effectively address the drought situation.
Our strategy is the identification of land near water bodies suitable for irrigation. This initiative is essential for sustaining agricultural activities and securing food supplies for the people and feed for the livestock.
Stakeholders like traditional leaders have played a key role in providing land for irrigation, and government has acknowledged their contribution.
Our traditional leaders have shown exceptional leadership in this time of crisis. Their role in the allocation of land for irrigation is invaluable.
Areas of mitigation has been identified in all the 15 districts of Southern Province.
As a district, we have procured a bulldozer that was delivered last week, and just yesterday, a grader was delivered to the local authority. We are going to use that equipment to actually open up and create dams in the district. We are also going to use it to open up roads in order to make farming areas and irrigation schemes accessible in the district.
Near water bodies, we have acquired land for winter maize, and this land is spanning to about 300 hectares. Then the monies which have been realigned from the savings from the grants and the loans, we are doing water recreation systems.
We are not just looking at this year, we are looking at climate change in general. And these droughts, it may come again. We may experience floods. Then the question that we are trying to address is that what are we doing about it? So that in the event that we have this drought, the little water that we are going to have in terms of rains, are we able to harvest that water?
Kostak Mudenda, Zanis, in Joma District, Southern Province.
And now, the Food Reserve Agency FRA in Northern Province has disclosed that it has procured over 27,700 metric tons of white maize in the province in the current crop marketing exercise. FRA Northern Province Marketing Coordinator Timothy Chanda said this is out of the target of 190,000 that the province has projected to procure this year. Mr. Chanda disclosed the development during the ongoing Provincial Agriculture Tourism and Investment Show in Kasama. Let's get the details in this report.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA Northern Province, has purchased over 27,000 metric tons of white maize from farmers in the area. FRA Northern Province Marketing Coordinator Timothy Chanda said the agency is receiving an overwhelming response from farmers who are bringing their maize to the agency.
The response from our farmers has been quite overwhelming. And as regards to farmer payments, we have so far received a total of 105 million kwacha for Northern Province, and against that we have so far paid a total of 87 million kwacha.
He also announced the mechanism the agency has put in place to pay farmers on time.
Ideally, it's supposed to take the farmer between a space of 4 to 7 days, the moment they actually deliver the crop. So far, as it stands, Kasama is doing exceptionally well in terms of maize purchases. It is the leading district so far.
And some seed companies in the province are investing in technologies that are helping farmers benefit from their produce.
We are making sure that we equip our field technicians, our field agronomists with the right tools. Apart from equipping them with rain gauges, we also equip them with moisture meters and scales as well. So as farmers are harvesting or before harvest, we offer them a facility to ensure that we are able to engage and measure the most appointed.
Reporting for Zanis in Kasama District, I'm Javet Munkondia.
Still on agriculture news, the Zambia Pediatric Association, ZPA, has called on the government to quickly enact the tobacco control bill that has been pending for some time. And ZPA Publicity Secretary Christiana Zulu says the tobacco control bill will help safeguard the lives of children who are currently at high risk due to exposure from people who smoke in open spaces. Dr. Zulu says this year's World No Tobacco Day theme, protecting children from influence of the tobacco industry, is a reminder that children need to be protected from tobacco abuse. More in this report.
Children is defined as any person below the age of 18 milligrams of marijuana. Please do us first. Second-hand smoke is defined as the smoke that is inhaled involuntarily from tobacco being smoked by others. Milligrams of marijuana. Please do us first. Picture. This is a person who's smoking back in the lower apartments, but yet the smoke is penetrated through the vents into the upper apartments, and it's going to affect all those people are. All those people who are going to be affected on top are called passive smokers.
These are pupils drawn from different schools in Lusaka to debate on the effects of tobacco in the country. The Zambia Pediatric Association has embarked on various awareness programs to educate both the young and the old on the dangers of tobacco. Dr. Christina Zulu is the ZPA Publicity Secretary and has appealed to the government to speed up the enactment of the Tobacco Control Bill.
So our theme for this year has incorporated children because that's what it's about. So we have schools that are actively debating motions concerning creating tobacco-free spaces, passing the Tobacco Control Bill, as well as putting labels on tobacco products of how harmful it is to health. And we hope that these voices of the young people will go up through the chain, through the system, and ultimately lead into our government passing the Tobacco Control Bill.
And youth advocate Japhet Ngoma notes that the enactment of the bill will help safeguard the environment.
The enactment of the Tobacco Control Bill will safeguard the environment, will safeguard our economy, will safeguard the next generation, the children. We ought to let the children breathe by the enactment of the Tobacco Control Bill.
Stakeholders are appealing for an enactment of the Tobacco Control Bill that will help protect the present and future generations. Evelyn Masialeti, reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
The Law Association of Zambia, LAZ, has called on the Ministry of Justice to provide a clear constitutional reform roadmap for the country. LAZ President Lungisani Zulu says there is a need for the government to come out more clearly in terms of a roadmap for the constitutional reform that should include the economic and social rights that are missing in the Bill of Rights. And speaking when he paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Justice, Princess Kasone, in Lusaka, Mr. Zulu highlighted the need to include youths, women and disabled as some of the many areas that require reforms. He stated that there is a need for the Ministry of Justice to consider bringing up the Public Gathering Bill following the alleged abuse of the Public Order Act in the country. And in responding to the request by LAZ President, Minister of Justice Princess Kasone said the ministry has been working with other stakeholders to help in the process of constitutional reforms, which cannot be done by the government alone. Ms. Kasone noted that the collaboration between the Ministry of Justice and the LAZ is essential as they can address key issues and implement reforms that will benefit the justice system and society at large.
We want to highlight one, the need for a constitutional reform roadmap for Law Association of Zambia, as well as in tandem other stakeholders such as the Oasis Forum, where we are with the church and civil society. We believe that government must come out much more clear in terms of the roadmap for constitutional reform. We believe that notwithstanding the challenge of drought, there is space for a reform of the Constitution to include the economic and social rights that are missing in the Bill of Rights. There are many other areas that require reform, which includes proportional representation to bring in the youth, women and the disabled. We also believe that the Constitutional Court could be better positioned to play a critical role. So we did have an internal consultation process at last and developed a paper which we'll be happy to share with you to highlight some of the areas our members identified, members of the public identified could require refinement. So the continued absence of the clear roadmap robs us as a legal profession of the chance to contribute more effectively to this reform agenda. Consistent with the reform agenda, Honorable Minister, is the need to push towards the public gathering bill. One of our pain points as an association has been observing continued abuse of the Public Order Act, not just in the current space, but also in previous governments.
So we're going to work together and do better things for Zambia, where my predecessor left it. I think he did what he could, and now it is our turn to take it to even another notch. So be assured that my doors, or the office's doors for this ministry, are very much wide open. So you are pushing an already open door, and there's no need to push but walk through it and together. Indeed, we may not agree on all issues, but we have to be able to be talking if we're going to serve this country better. Secondly, you talked about the constitutional reforms that are needed in this country. I think that question was asked to me when I just came. I think there is a yearning, there is a thirst out there where they want to see these reforms happen, hopefully before 2026. And my response was that we need these voices to come from civil society. We need the church. We need NGOs and many others, key players, so that we as a government, we can also know that these are very important issues for our people. Governments work because they know that government is the people.
Now, government says it is committed to build the capacity of journalists in the country in order to enhance professionalism. Information and Media Permanent Secretary Tabo Kawana says there is a need for journalists to enrich their skills in information dissemination. Mr. Kawana said this in Chongwe today when he closed the 5-day media training workshop on television production for Zanis staff drawn from across the country, organized by the ministry and Zamcom. He said this in a speech read for him by Director Human Resource and Administration, Bernard Domingo. And Mr. Kawana has challenged Zamcom to consider introducing basic financial accounting courses for journalists. And speaking earlier, Zanis Director Lois Saili challenged the participants to use the knowledge gained from the training to improve the quality of their work. The director stated that Zanis will soon be launching its television channel and that the training is timely.
This is my wish and prayer that next time that we meet, with the doors wide open at Zamcom, we should be talking about a good number of our participants having either a first degree or indeed a master's degree. Also, I'm also alive to the fact that modern schooling is multi-skilling. My challenge to Zamcom is that as you tailor your programs, consider a multidisciplinary, a multi-professional approach where certain programs like finance for non-journalism professionals is incorporated.
I think as early as last year, when we did the first workshop for our HQ staff, and we have partnered with Zamcom and Zamcom. DG is here today. We trained, I think, over 60 staff at HQ, and our desire is to train all our district information officers, including the assistant district news and information officers. That is our desire. So this workshop was really the first phase of us trying achieve that which we have put on the cards. It has not been easy for us to get to this point. The planning itself took long. There was a lot of resources involved, but we finally got to this point. And I think as a department, we are very pleased, acting PS, that we have made that important step to upskill our people to be ready to respond to the new challenge that has been given to us as a department.
We don't do distance because that is the principal university itself. For us, we do part-time evening classes. When people don't go for 17, they come to Zamco. They are in class for 2 hours, sometimes on the weekend, and then they get their degree. But for Zanis, we are offering you, if you are in Mongo, you are in Sparta, we can arrange some distance facility for you and you get.
In other news, the 5 days leadership training workshop on decentralization workshop that brought together civic leaders and senior government officials in Eastern Province has closed with an appeal to participants not to engage in corrupt activities and also to desist from mismanagement of public resources. Details in this report.
The 5 days leadership training on decentralization that brought together civic leaders and senior government officials in Eastern Province has closed on a high note, with participants being enlightened on what constitutes corruption and abuse of office.
Been co-opted as the Anti-Corruption Commission to be part of the district leadership training in order for us to ensure that our leadership teams, the district and the provincial teams, are well sensitized on matters pertaining to corruption. And this is being done in the view that by the end of the training, and of course it's an ongoing program, even after the training we'll still be engaging with our leaders because remember it's a concerted effort in the fight against corruption.
Participants described the presentation on corruption as informative and educative.
Some of these gifts that we receive in our offices, as we thought it was just a gift, but through the lessons that we've learned today, we've known that some of these gifts are not ordinary. It is like corruption. So we'll be careful and we'll do the right thing so that we don't end up being arrested and say these people were getting corruption from other people. You know, there are a lot of issues that happens in the office. For us, we didn't know. So moving forward, we are a changed person.
Really benefited a lot as participants. It has come at the right time. We have discovered that most of us are not doing very well on many of these activities. I can give an example on the issue of delaying to implement government programs. We've just been enlightened that that is actually amounts to corruption.
Decentralization Secretariat highlights why they decided to include a presentation on corruption as part of the leadership training.
Money goes to the council, the more our leaders become vulnerable because they will be making decisions that are not good. For instance, sector grant funds must not be touched to pay salaries. The council must utilize local equalization fund and own source revenue to pay. These sector grants are for service delivery. So that is the essence we are here. And it's glad that Anti-Corruption Commission and DEC have emphasized abuse of offices, misapplication of funds, will lead them to commit offenses.
Service delivery is expected to be enhanced in councils as office bearers have been equipped with knowledge and skills on leadership. For Zanis, I'm Lakson Makodza.
Also in the news, the Local Government Association of Zambia Executive Director Mpataji Namumba has expressed concern and worry with the low female representation in elected leadership at all levels of governance. Ms. Namumba says, from Parliament, Cabinet, local government to sub-district structures, the proportion of women is low. She notes that the proportion of female representation in local government currently stands at 7.9% based on the August 2021 elections. Ms. Namumba laments that the country's political landscape continues to be male-dominated, despite women accounting for more than 53.4% of the country's 7 million registered voters. She stated that there has been marginal progress in women representation in elected leadership from 6% in 2011 and 7.7% in 2016. Ms. Namumba said this in a speech read for her by LGAZ Finance Director Sangulukani Zulu during the official opening of the Partnerships for Municipal Innovation Women in Local Leadership Stakeholders Engagement Meeting, Gender Allies in Lusaka today. Ms. Namumba, however, said at this rate, the country is far behind the target of 50% women representation as provided for in the Southern Africa Development Community SADC Protocol on Gender and Development of 2008. And finally in the news, Chief Musungwa of the Ila people in Iteji district has commended Matobo Game Ranch of Mazabuka for restocking 400 black lechers into the Kafue National Park through a project supported by African Parks. The traditional ruler said the park has had a depletion of black lecher population, which raises concern, and has since issued a stern warning to poachers about severe consequences if found wanting.
Kafue National Park has received 400 black lechers from Matobo Game Ranch of Mazabuka under the restocking project by African Parks. This development has excited Chief Musungwa.
The Kafue leche had been hunted down and we have a lot of space, such that all we had asked for is now being done. We are to receive, or we have started receiving 400 leche to start breeding in this part. Then we shall receive 1,000 wildebeest and 500 additional zebras, and then I'm sure later during the year, as per program, we may receive 12 to 15 black rhinos.
Kafue National Park Community Conservation Liaison Officer Peter Chibesa now shares more about the restocking project.
The project is just 1 year, 11 months in the park, so we have at least sold ourselves well to the communities, and we have created the enabling environment working wise in terms of the community and the project. There is a home relationship or home working understanding between the community and the project as African Parks in Kafue National Park.
Musungwa Community Resource Board Chairperson Leonard Kalima has stressed the need to protect the lecheways.
I've been just reading them in books and hearing stories about the black lechers, about these lechers, but today I've seen them, and we just want to assure the entire community that we are going to protect these animals as we are protecting these animals which are already in this ecosystem of our park.
Reporting for Zanis, I am Kruga Siankuru in Iteji district, Southern Province.
Well, that item brings us to the end of the news, and as we end the news, a recap of stories that made headlines. President Hichilema swears in Judicial Complaints Commissioners, SCC board member. Mozambique President Philip Nyusi addresses Zambia National Assembly. FRA procures over 27,000 metric tons of maize in Northern Province. Plus, Kafue National Park restocked with 400 black lechers. Well, on behalf of the entire production crew here at Zanis, thank you so much for watching. It has been Margaret Kangwa, and my sign language interpreter has been John Chulu. Stay tuned.